Let's talk about learning in terms of the analytical mind. This is where books, classes, video series like Game Story Basics can really help. Because when you're in that mode, in that part of it, that's where all the stuff like, there's 3 ways to structure a scene. Here's 6 things to always look out for and be careful not to do. And, all of those kind of rules and regulations. It's good to have those on hand when you're in the analytical stage, right? Because then you can bring all of that book learning to the fore when you're working on the ideas that you have sort of created in the wild mind. So again, learning and applying yourself in terms of learning this stuff is very valuable, very important. So like and subscribe and all that stuff. But yeah, if you do all that, then when you're in that analytical stage, that information will be there for you, and it is important to do that. A lot of times, I hesitate often to say that ideas are objectively good or bad. I think a lot of it has to do with how you support them. But I will say, a lot of times ideas that people get excited about that actually don't work, it's because they fall down in one of 2 dimensions. They're just kind of pure creative jazz fun woo part is lame, or that part's good, but the idea is really unstable. It doesn't really work on the more mechanical side. And when an idea is actually really good, it's because it works in both dimensions. And the way that you get ideas that do that is through this process of moving back and forth between the wild mind and the analytical mind. And there is no fixed timeline on this, by the way, what I'm describing, because they're 2 mental states. A lot will just have to do with you and your own energy. So you could theoretically ping pong back and forth between the 2 mental states 12 times in a minute, or maybe once in an hour. I don't know. It really depends on you. And it is something that generally is a more singular thing, like I mentioned, driving on the highway or walking a dog or whatever. It can happen in groups. In my experience, for it to work in a group, that group has to know each other pretty well and be very comfortable with each other. If you throw a bunch of strangers into a room and say, now brainstorm, probably 1 or 2 dominant people are just going to take over, and then they're going to have their own solo brainstorm experience with an audience. But I think a good example of collaborative brainstorming in a way that works is writers' rooms in TV, because when they're breaking stories and breaking scripts and working on a season of a show, they will be there for many, many hours during the day, all together in the room. A lot of times they just order lunch and it's delivered and they eat with each other. So they are with each other a lot, and they start to develop a comfort and an ease that allows them to move into those mental states together. I do remember a TV writer telling me once that they have in one of the rooms he worked in, there was a let it suck rule. What that means is when someone is kind of like going on an idea, and there's like a million things wrong with it, but everyone else kind of just hangs back, like, well, let him or her just roll with this for a bit. Let it suck, because they seem to be following a trail to something that might be good. That's literally describing holding the analytical mind off for a little bit while the wild mind does its thing. And so as a group, they sort of reach the point where they can all be that for each other, and they can tend to swing back and forth between the 2 as a group, which is an amazing experience. So you can do it alone or with friends. Creativity. That's all for now. I'll see you on the next one.